Roll call, please, Tracy.
Arbogast.
Here.
Garnis.
Here.
Gisselbeck.
Here.
Heller.
Here.
Mr. Johnson is absent. Mr. Meisenheimer.
Here.
Solberg. Walder.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
And York.
Here.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes of the city council meeting held May 1st, 2006. Is there a motion, please? So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Is there any changes or corrections to the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 2 is consideration of bids for the Watertown Community Recreation Center. A is the re-roof of the Recreation Center, which is project number 0614, and B is the rooftop units replacement, project number 0615. And Dave?
On May 5th, bids were open for the re-roof of the recreation center and the rooftop unit replacement. On the re-roof of the recreation center, we received one bid from Protec Roofing Incorporated of Watertown for the bid amount of $37,575. For the rooftop units replacement, we received two bids. One bid was incomplete and couldn't be accepted. Based upon those two bids, we have decided that our recommendation would be to rebid that particular project because of the discrepancy in the low bid. This went to the Public Works Committee, and the recommendation is to approve the bid for the re-roof of the Recreation Center and to reject both of the bids for the rooftop unit replacement.
May we have a motion to that effect, please?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any discussion?
I got a question
Yes.
for Dave. Is that low bid for the unit exchange, is that a good bid at $65,000?
I believe it is a pretty good bid.
Do you think we would get a cheaper bid by rebidding them?
I don't know if we'll get a cheaper bid. I'm hoping we'll get one down closer to that, the low bid.
Now, I know when you send out a sheet of paper with the bids, it says that the city reserves the right to reject any bid due to the presence of any irregularities or to waive irregularities in a bid and award a contract to such bidder when deemed advisable by the city.
I believe.
So this is an irregular bid, and I was wondering if we're not going to save, or in your estimation, not going to save any money, why not go ahead forward with it?
Well, generally that's reserved for minor irregularities. In this particular one, they had no unit bids on any of the quantities. So we feel that this is a major irregularity rather than just a minor
Okay.
irregularity.
I noticed, and I got the bid sheet, a copy from them, and they mentioned in the letter that if we are the low bidder and selected for this contract, we will gladly supply an itemized breakdown as per the bid schedule. Is that something that can be acceptable in the bid process?
Where did you receive that?
That was sent with their bid.
I guess I didn't see that with the bid, but I don't believe we can accept that anyway. It's pretty specific in the bid that they have to fill out all of the unit prices.
Okay, I was just looking at trying to save the city some money if we can.
Well, we don't know if you're gonna save the city some money. That's why they're rebidding it.
Correct, and it could be higher, so, and
Could be lower too.
I know the contractors are real busy at this time, and that usually indicates a higher bid. And that's the reason I'm bringing it forward.
Any other discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Roll call, please, Tracy.
Okay, on the motion to award the bid to Protec Roofing for the roof project and to reject the bids for the rooftop units and re-advertise that project, We'll begin with Mr. Heller.
Yes.
Johnson is absent. Meisenheimer,
Yes.
Solberg, Walder, Wilson,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Arbogast,
Yes.
Garnos,
Yes.
Gisselbeck.
Yes.
Count 8 votes in favor and 1 opposed.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 3 is consideration of a grant agreement for the Terry Redland Freshwater Institute Wetland Education Program Project. And Chad, would you speak to that, please?
Basically, what this is has a little bit of a history. Starting in February of 2004, the Terry Redland Freshwater Institute started operating under its second EPA grant, otherwise known as the Wetland Education Program grant. That was set to expire April 30th of this year. It was approximately a 2-year grant. Roughly in February, I was notified by EPA that there was, and also keeping track through the budget, there was approximately $25,000 of that grant that had not been spent of EPA money. So what happened was the Department of Environment and Natural Resource and EPA requested an extension for the grant. And basically all this is just an extension by 1 year of the grant to reallocate the funding, the $25,000. We took it out of programs that for various reasons were either not really that popular, did not have a very good audience for them, and just put them in the programs that are popular, that educators do like, and fulfill other roles here in the city of Watertown. So basically what it is the program is now extended for a year, and now the new termination date for the grant is April 30th, 2007.
Do you need any motion or anything like that? I guess it's more of an information, isn't it? Chad?
Primarily it's information,
Okay.
yes.
It would be appropriate to have a motion to authorize the amendment so that the mayor can sign it.
Okay, well, we have a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Garnos. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chad.
Yes.
Item number 4 is the second reading of ordinance number 06-09, amending section 15.0402 regarding licensing plumbing contractors and pipe layers. This is more of a housekeeping ordinance. We'll begin with a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the ordinance? If not, we'll close the public hearing and begin with council action to approve this. May I have a motion then to approve the ordinance number 06-09?
Motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 5 is the second reading of ordinance number 06-10, prohibiting the use of dynamic engine brakes. We'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience to speak to the ordinance in regards to the dynamic engine brakes? If not, then we'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion then to approve the ordinance number 06-10?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I feel that if we spend as much time with the boom boxes as we do with the Jake brakes, why, I'll go along with it. But otherwise, if they're just gonna pick on the truckers, and I realize that they show off, and I realize that they're a nuisance by the Catholic cemetery, no doubt about that, and stuff, but these, Carol said she lives 2 blocks from the highway and can hear the Jake brakes, and I agree. But boom boxes 2 blocks this way, I can hear them in the middle of and when they're right in front of the house, the windows rattle, and I can hear them 2 blocks that way. So I'll go along with it if they also do some work on the boom boxes.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Well, I expect that's going to, they're all parts of the noise ordinance. And as we talked about last time, they're going to be enforced only if somebody happens to be there to do the enforcement, or if somebody is willing to step forward and sign a ticket. And I know people have stepped forward and signed tickets against boom boxes, and I encourage people to do that if they talk to me about them, because that is a law. And the police cannot be everywhere arresting everybody at all times. So it's part of our duties as citizens to take care of those things too. So I expect this is going to be the same way, falling under the noise ordinance too.
Any other comments?
The only difference is this will be so signed to warn the truckers as they come into town.
Any other discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 6 is the consideration of demolition and filling of areas below sidewalk and street on First Street Northeast, Robert Wagner's law office. Dave?
Last fall, we were approached by a contractor who was called over to that site to look at replacing the sidewalk along the east side of Robert Wagner's law office. And we found out that underneath the sidewalk, it's a couple big rooms, and these rooms extend out into the street, under the street actually. There's a beam under the curb which supports the curb and in part of the street. And this beam, with the water that's been leaking down next to the curb, has become very rusty and is kind of rusting out on it, and something needs to be done in that area. It was suggested that maybe just the area should all be just filled in rather than rebuilding the top of these rooms. And the city was approached concerning doing that. We received some quotes for removing the roof of these rooms and filling them and replacing the curb. And the cost of that for the three estimates was $11,451.56. We've had discussions about this at the Public Works Committee level, and their recommendation was that we go ahead and get these rooms filled and get rid of the rooms that are underneath the street and the sidewalk. There would be some cost to Mr. Wagner for replacing the sidewalk, and he has to maintain the stairwell, so he has to rebuild that portion of the sidewalk where the stairwell is at. But we would like to have the approval of the council for participating in removing of these rooms or filling these rooms to the amount of $11,451.56. This comes to you with the recommendation of the Public Works Committee for approval.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect, please? So moved. So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Heller. Any further discussion?
Dave, are those, when you say rooms, are those left over from the old steam days?
They don't appear to be part of the steam system. They,
One room is, Dave. The big room, I'm told, was the steam switching. The one that goes out in the middle.
talking with them at utilities,
They don't
and
think so?
they don't think so.
Well, it had something to do, that was utility building at one time.
Are there any safes down there, Dave? Does Bob have some safes down there?
I don't know what Bob has down
The
there.
other room was one of these that was left over from where they had barber shops and shoe repair shops. Where you went down the stairs. They've been gradually filled in, only a couple left.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, if I could just ask Mr. Peterson a question, thank you. Dave, if you confirm that the area that this work could be performed in is in the public right-of-way, it's not private property that we'll be working on?
Yes, the whole area is public right
The council knows there's a prohibition on us doing that, so I wanted to make sure that the council and the public was aware that this isn't public property that we'll be working on.
I was there also. It is definitely the public right away.
Well, thank you.
There were a number of such rooms further east up the street when they took out the steam heating. As I recall, several of those were filled by the city or by the landowner.
Well, if you're talking about the steam vaults that were filled with the last project uptown that was done by the city, paid for by the city.
And I would suspect that we're probably going, when we do I think it's phase 3 of the Uptown project, we may find some more of these and be back having the same discussion.
Any other discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dave. Item number 7 is the consideration of change order number 1 for Mallard Point Street Lighting Project for an extension of time to 60 days. Dave again?
As the mayor just said, this change order is for extension of time for this project due to the supplier of the poles not being able to supply the poles in a timely manner. This project really doesn't have any specific date that it needs to be completed, so our recommendation is that we allow for the change order for the additional 60 days.
Is there a motion then?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8 is consideration of hiring an engineering consultants for the design and construction administration for phase 1 of the Southwest Storm Sewer Project. Dave?
This project was originally planned for the engineering department to do the design of. With our shortness of staff, with the loss of our assistant city engineer, we're asking for the approval to hire a consultant to do the design and construction management on this project in order to get it out this season. We've contacted Asen Engineering, who did the preliminary design and who also did the facility plan for this project, to give us a price on doing the design and the construction management. And they have given those costs that are included in the packet, that being $27,420 for the design and plan development, and $42,425 for the construction management, staking and inspection services. These would be a not to exceed figure. They would be actually on an hourly basis if this was approved. This was to the Public Works Committee, and the Public Works Committee has recommended approval of this.
Thank you, Dave. May we have a motion then for either the approval or rejection of those?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Any further discussion?
Yeah, David, would you remind us again where the funds are gonna come from in the budget?
This is from an SRF loan from the state.
That was the $1.3 million loan, right, David, that we
That's
received?
correct.
So,
To add to Mr. Heller's question, as part of that loan, we requested a 10% contingency, and that's where we would project these funds to come out of that 10% contingency.
any other questions? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9 is the appointment of Bill Riefenberger to the Urban Renewal Board as a member and chairman. Bill's in the audience tonight. Sharon Filed has submitted her resignation as a member of the Urban Renewal Board and also as its chairman. And I had asked Bill if he would consider taking over that position, and he gracefully said that he would. And so he's here tonight to answer any questions if the council has any. Otherwise, I would ask the council's approval for Bill's appointment as the chairman and member of the Urban Renewal Board.
I'd like to make that motion.
And I'd like to second it.
Okay, motion by Alderwoman Arbogast, seconded by Alderman Garnos. Any further?
I'd just like to say, saying the work that Bill did on the Chamber of Commerce when he was president and CEO, I highly recommend him for this job, and I know he'll do a good job for us.
Thank you, Gordy. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Bill, thank you very much. Look forward to a good relationship. Next, I've been asked on the open to read a proclamation. Office of the Mayor, Watertown, South Dakota, proclamation. Whereas South Dakota's Click It or Ticket campaign during the May mobilization and the joint efforts of the Watertown Human Service Agency and Highway Safety Program are forging community-based partnerships to increase the proper use of safety belts and child safety seats, thereby saving our community precious lives and taxpayer dollars. And whereas the use of safety devices is supported by the laws of the state of South Dakota, and whereas, since increasing safety belt use is still the single most effective way to save lives and reduce injuries and crashes on America's roadways, and whereas inpatient hospital care costs for unbuckled crash victims are 50% higher than for those who are buckled, and 85% of those medical costs are borne by society, which signifies the degree to which we all pay for unbelted occupants. And whereas, by increasing the safety belt use rate, injuries would be prevented, child fatalities would be reduced, and every man, woman, and child in South Dakota would save $659 annually. And whereas, since research shows that if a driver is unbuckled, 70% of the time, children in that car also are unbuckled. And whereas, a study by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has affirmed that states with standard enforcement laws have significantly higher safety belt and child safety seat use, and that the correct use of safety belts has contributed to a decrease in the number of fatalities by up to 45%, and that the effectiveness of correctly installed child safety seats reduces fatal injury by 69% for infants and children. Therefore, I, Mayor Paul Fox, support the public education initiatives of South Dakota's Click It or Ticket campaign during the May mobilization and encourage the public-private partnership among public officials, law enforcement, associations, community and health groups, and businesses to work to ensure that all children and adults buckle up. And I, Paul Fox, support and encourage law enforcement in their efforts to promote and visibly enforce compliance of safety belt and child safety seats laws of South Dakota to save lives, reduce injury, and save South Dakota taxpayer money. So, Chief Vitek, I'll be giving this to you after the meeting, and thank you very much. One other item on the open I'd like to bring to the council's attention is that starting today, the construction started on the library, so if you drive by, you should start seeing some activity there. They were able to get started a little sooner than expected, and so we're looking forward to the completion of the library. Is there anything else on the open that someone would like to speak to?
I would just like to make a comment on our swimming pool. It's just awesome when you drive by it. It's a big plus for Watertown, and I'm sure it's going to be packed full of people. It's wonderful.
Yes, Chief Vitek.
I apologize for coming to you today. We submitted a grant proposal that was due today, and so I'm coming to you asking for your blessing on that submission. The Department of Highway Safety come across some funds that were available to them through the Department of Transportation. And so today we submitted 3 grant proposals, one for a Stay Alive After 5 program. And you'll recall that based on the traffic crash analysis that we conducted for 2005, we were able to determine that the majority of our traffic crashes occurred after 12 p.m. and between 8 p.m. Sergeant Scott McMahon, once again, was the author of that proposal. It was due today, so we had to make sure it got to Pier by today. And so we requested $11,760 in overtime funds from the Department of Highway Safety to essentially, between June and October, to put an officer out on the street for about 3 hours in the afternoon, specifically during that time frame, to target areas where we've had complaints and that sort of thing. The other thing that they made available to us that we could ask for was additional radar units. So we've submitted 2 proposals, one for some Genesis K-band radars, which are 3 in number, and then of course the last one is an additional LiDAR radar. And I believe I told you before, we only have one of those units. The one we had broke, and so we have that one on order, but we're requesting another one. That's a unit that we need to enforce traffic on Highway 212, where we have a heavy density of the traffic, and that type of radar is needed. So long story short, we have the money to match the 20% on the radar units, and I'm just asking, first of all, your forgiveness, but also your blessing on having done that.
Which do you want first?
Okay, then, in regards to the radar equipment, could we have a motion then to approve the grant application?
I'll make a motion, we approve the grant application.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Alderwoman York, seconded by Alderman Giselbeck to approve the radar grant equipment. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And then for the traffic enforcement overtime grant, could we have a motion for the application for that, please? 100% grant. So moved by Alderwoman Walder. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief Vitek.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 11 is any old business. Is there any old business to come before the council? Item number 12 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the council? Item number 13 is liaison member reports. Are there any member reports?
Well, Carol
Safety.
kind of stole my thunder about the swimming pool, but if you drove by there today, you'll notice they're putting together that huge slide that goes down into the river. And they've been having some trouble getting that supplied, and it finally got here, and they were trying to put it together today, and it's looks like quite a project. I think everything's going to be done by opening day. I think most of the major stuff is done. I think it's really going to be a great facility for the city.
And I apologize for jumping ahead of item 2 on the open. I'm so excited about this pool that the only thing I wish I was 30 years younger and maybe 50 pounds lighter, I would use it a lot.
I'm right there with you, Carol. Okay.
I also had something under liaison reports, safety committee tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock here in council chambers rather than upstairs.
Your Honor.
Yes,
Would it be appropriate to line up a tour for the council to go through have a guided tour of the new pool? I'll swim.
okay. Herb, could you, or could you arrange that?
You get a hold of Roger.
Okay, we'll get a hold of Roger and do that, okay.
Great.
One other item is the bus barns coming along. They're pouring cement.
You bet, we hear the noise every day. So, anything else anyone would like to mention? If not, then we'll need to go into executive session in regards to some contract negotiations, and when we return, we'll not be taking any action. So if I could have a motion, please, to go into executive session. So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go into executive session.